Episode 1, The Gate That Never Closed. They told me this was the house of God. But the moment I stepped through the gates, I knew God had never walked here. The air was thick, not with holiness, but with breath. The kind that trembles just before a scream. My hands clutched the rosary tighter as the iron doors groaned shut behind me. I turned. The sound echoed like a coffin ceiling. And they never opened again. The convent of Saint Aurelia stood like a dying queen, marble bones and bleeding candles, whispering psalms through cracked windows. The sisters greeted me with eyes too calm, smiles too still. They moved in unison, their bare feet gliding across the stone as if the floor remembered them. Mother Superior kissed my forehead. Her lips were cold. "Welcome home, Sister Amara," she said. Home. The word crawled down my spine. That night, I couldn't sleep. The candles in my cell refused to die, the flames danced, but there was no wind. From beyond the walls, I heard prayers, but not from human throats. They were low, trembling, hungry. I pressed my ear against the plaster. Beneath it, a heartbeat. A slow, living pulse. When I whispered amen, it whispered it back. I walked to the window, searching for the moon, but the sky above Saint Aurelia was empty. No stars, no light. Only the silhouette of the gate. Still closed. Still waiting. I told myself I came here for redemption. But as the bells began to toll, soft and uneven, I realized something terrifying. The convent didn't call the faithful. It called the lost. And I had answered. Episode 2, The Nun Who Slept Without a Shadow. It was the second night when I met Sister Lucia. She was the kind of beauty God would have hidden, too divine for mercy, too human for heaven. Her voice was a whisper between prayer and desire. She said she couldn't sleep. Neither could I. The candlelight trembled across her face as she smiled. "You'll get used to it," she murmured. "The walls breathe louder here at night." Then she turned, and for a fleeting moment, I saw it, she cast no shadow. I told myself it was a trick of the light. But the candle didn't lie. That night, I pretended to sleep. I heard her rise from her bed, her bare feet brushing the cold stone. The sound was rhythmic, deliberate. Through my half-closed eyes, I saw her kneel before the small crucifix on the wall. Her night robe fell from her shoulders, white linen spilling like sin. She began to pray, not in Latin, not in any language I knew. Each word vibrated in my chest like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. Her body swayed, slow and sensual, as if her prayer was a dance. As if devotion itself could seduce the divine. And then, silence. She turned toward me. Eyes open, wide, glistening like 2 drops of candle wax. "Did you feel it too?" she whispered. "Feel, what?" I stammered. "The breath behind your name." Before I could answer, she pressed a finger to my lips. Warm. Trembling. "Never speak of it," she said. "The mother doesn't like when the walls listen." When she returned to bed, I saw her reflection in the mirror, lying still beside me. But her body was already asleep. And the reflection was smiling. Episode 3, The Confession Room. They said confession cleanses the soul. But that night, mine was set on fire. The chapel was empty, except for the faint hiss of candlelight. I knelt before the wooden grate, veil trembling against my skin. Beyond it, silence. The kind that feels alive. Then, a voice. Low. Velvet. Not entirely human. "Speak, child," it said. "What burdens your soul tonight?" I swallowed hard. My mouth was dry. Desire, I whispered. Desire that I cannot name. He chuckled softly, and the sound slithered through the lattice like smoke. Desire is not a sin, Sister Amara. It is creation itself. Only those who fear it, fall. His words wrapped around me, each syllable warm against the nape of my neck. I couldn't see his face, but I could feel his breath, heavy, patient, close. I dream, I confessed, of touching what I've sworn to renounce. Of lips, of warmth, of her. The silence cracked. Then he whispered, Sister Lucia. My heart stopped. How did he know? The wood between us began to tremble, as if the confessional itself was breathing. Tell me, the voice urged, deeper now, darker. When she prays, do you envy her holiness, or her hunger? The air grew thick with incense and sweat. I felt my knees weaken, my pulse racing like a sinner's hymn. Then, a finger slid through the narrow gap of the grate. Pale. Smooth. Waiting. I should have run. I should have prayed. But I leaned closer instead. His touch burned colder than ice. Forgive me, Father, I breathed. He laughed. A sound both divine and damned. Child, he whispered, I am no father. Episode 4, The Wall That Wept Blood. At dawn, the bells tolled before anyone touched them. The sound rolled through the cloister like a heartbeat, slow, uneven, alive. When I entered the chapel, the sisters were kneeling before the eastern wall. And the wall was bleeding. Crimson streaks ran from the eyes of the Virgin fresco, winding down the plaster like veins. The scent of iron filled the air, thick, sweet, sacred. Mother Superior whispered, a miracle. The others chanted hymns, their voices trembling in ecstasy. But I couldn't pray. Because the blood was warm. I reached out, trembling. It pulsed beneath my fingertips, as if something beneath the wall was breathing, slow, patient, listening. And then it whispered my name. Amara. I froze. The others didn't hear it. Only me. That night, Sister Lucia came to my cell. Her eyes gleamed like melted candle wax. You touched it, she said. Yes, I whispered. It spoke. She smiled, lips red as wine. Then it has chosen you. She took my hand and guided it to her chest, her heart beat wildly, faster than life itself. Every miracle needs a vessel, she breathed. Every god needs a body to burn. When she kissed me, I tasted the same metallic sweetness as the blood on the wall. And for a moment, I felt it move inside me, thick, divine, alive. The next morning, the wall had stopped bleeding. But on my pillow, I found a single red fingerprint. It wasn't mine. It was still wet. Episode 5, The Rule of Silence. They told us silence was sacred. That every word spoken without purpose was a wound in the ear of God. But that night, I could no longer bear the quiet. The convent had become too still, the kind of stillness that hums. I lay awake in my cell, counting the heartbeats that weren't mine. They came from the walls, from the crucifix, from the floor beneath my bed. Whispers without language. Prayers without mercy. When I called out, Lucia? My voice broke the dark like a blade. And everything stopped. The candles died. The air froze. 1,000 eyes seemed to open in the dark, eyes I couldn't see, but could feel on my skin, watching, listening. By morning, the chapel had changed. Every crucifix in the cloister hung upside down, their carved faces smiling where they once wept. Mother Superior's voice trembled during Mass. Someone has broken the rule of silence, she said. And the silence is angry. She made us kneel for hours, lips sewn shut by obedience. Blood dripped from bitten tongues. Still, no one spoke. But I could hear them, their thoughts pressing against mine like warm breath. Confess. Confess. When night fell again, I returned to my cell. On the wall above my bed, the words had appeared in crimson streaks. Amara broke the silence. I felt a presence behind me, soft, close. Lucia's breath brushed my ear. "You shouldn't have spoken," she whispered. Then her voice changed, lower, older, not hers at all. "The mother hears everything." I turned. But Lucia was gone. Only her veil lay on the floor, still whispering my name. Episode 6, The Garden of Ashes. They told us the garden was sacred ground. A place where only roses grew, tended by hands that no longer trembled. But when I walked there alone at midnight, the air reeked not of flowers, but of something burned. The moon hung low, silver and distant, as if ashamed to look. The soil beneath my feet was too soft, too warm. When I knelt and brushed it aside, white petals scattered like bone fragments. And beneath them, earth that moved. A pale hand broke through the dirt, fingers reaching, twisting, searching for air. I screamed, but the sound died before leaving my throat. The hand vanished again, pulled back by something below. The soil sealed itself, sighing like it had only been dreaming. At dawn, I confronted Lucia. Her lips trembled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "We bury our dead here," she said. "But not for long." She led me to the farthest corner of the garden. A row of graves marked with names carved into stone so faint they almost refused to exist. The last one made my heart stop. Sister Amara. My name. My birth date. And an empty date beside it, waiting. Lucia placed a hand on my shoulder, her touch both tender and cruel. "The earth remembers who it must take," she whispered. "Every seed needs a body." That night, the roses bloomed black. Their petals bled when the wind passed through. I tried to pray, but the words dissolved into ash on my tongue. And as I lay in my bed, the scent of roses crept under the door. Sweet, choking, alive. When I looked toward the window, I saw my reflection in the glass. But it wasn't breathing. Episode 7, The Mirror Mass. They said the mirror mass was the holiest rite. That through reflection, the soul could gaze upon its own salvation. But when I looked into the mirror that night, what I saw was not salvation, it was hunger. The sisters gathered in the chapel, their faces veiled, candles trembling like frightened hearts. At the center stood a tall mirror framed in gold, its surface rippling softly, as though it breathed. Mother Superior spoke, "Tonight, each of you shall pray before your truest self. If it answers, you have been chosen." Chosen. The word rang like a curse. When my turn came, the mirror was cold beneath my fingers. My reflection blinked, once, twice, then stopped mimicking me altogether. Its lips moved, slow and deliberate. But I hadn't spoken. "Do you still believe in him?" it asked. The voice was mine, yet older, weary, trembling, almost merciful. "Or do you believe in what you've touched?" The chapel spun. The candles flared higher. Behind me, I could hear the other sisters gasping, some moaning, some laughing through tears. The mirror had begun to shimmer like liquid flesh. Then I saw her. Sister Lucia, standing inside the reflection. Her robe was gone, her skin glowing like pale marble streaked with light. She raised her hand, pressed it to the glass. "Come," she whispered. "There's no sin on this side." When I reached out, the surface swallowed my fingers, warm, alive, pulsing with the rhythm of blood. I felt a heart beating inside the mirror and realized it was my own. Then, without warning, every candle died. Only my reflection remained, smiling faintly, while I stood before the mirror, breathless and trembling. And in the black glass, she whispered, "I'll keep praying, Amara, when you forget how." Episode 8, The Mother Superior's Skin. By then, the convent no longer slept. The air itself prayed, the walls pulsed with whispers, and every candle wept wax like tears of flesh. But nothing terrified me more than the silence of Mother Superior's room. It was forbidden to enter. Yet one night, drawn by a sound, a low, rhythmic sigh, I crossed the threshold. The chamber was bathed in red light from 100 candles. Books bound in skin lay open upon the altar, their pages breathing faintly. The scent was sweet and rotten, like roses laid on a grave too long. At the center of the room, she knelt before a mirror, naked from the waist up, her back arched in devotion. And she was shedding her skin. It peeled away in sheets, slow and deliberate, revealing beneath it a shimmer like gold dust and bone. She turned her head toward me, the veil sliding from her face. And I saw what she truly was. Half of her face was divine, luminous, perfect, unbearable. The other half was ruined. Black veins spidered across the flesh, lips split wide in a smile too patient to be human. "Child," she whispered, voice soft as dying breath, "did you think holiness was beauty? Holiness is hunger." I fell to my knees. My rosary snapped between my fingers. She reached out and touched my cheek, her hand hot as a brand, leaving a mark that throbbed beneath my skin. "You have been chosen," she said. "You carry his echo now. Every prayer you speak will feed him." Behind her, the mirror rippled again, and for an instant, I saw every sister's reflection kneeling behind her, their faces turned upward, their mouths open in silent worship. The candles flickered. Her body began to dissolve, light bleeding from her pores until all that remained was the whisper of her voice. Salvation is a wound that never closes. When I looked at my hands, the mark she left was glowing. And beneath it, I could feel something moving. As if my skin were beginning to pray. Episode 9, The Night of the Thousand Bells. That night, every bell in the convent began to ring. Not one or two, but all of them, from the chapel towers to the smallest hand chimes in the cloisters. They rang without hands, without wind, without mercy. It was the sound of heaven choking. The sisters flooded the chapel like moths to fire. Their eyes rolled white, their lips cracked into smiles too wide to be human. Some tore their veils away, others clawed at their robes until pale flesh gleamed beneath candlelight. They weren't praying anymore. They were releasing something. The walls throbbed like living lungs. The fresco of the Virgin bled again, this time from the mouth. And from the stain, voices poured forth, hundreds, thousands, moaning in perfect unison. The sound was not music. It was worship in its purest, most unbearable form. Sister Lucia found me in the chaos, her hair unbound, her body trembling. "Do you hear them?" she gasped. "They've come for us. The saved and the damned, all at once." Her hands were slick with blood, yet she smiled through it. "I told you, Amara, every miracle needs a body." The bells grew louder, their rhythm matching the beat beneath my skin, the mark the mother had left burning brighter now. I fell to my knees as light erupted from the altar, searing gold and red. From it rose figures, shadows with wings made of fire, faces stretched into eternal screams. The sisters reached toward them, not in fear but desire. They wanted to be taken. To be used. Lucia kissed me, desperate, trembling, tasting of iron and smoke. "Pray," she whispered. "Before the bells stop. I tried, but the words twisted in my mouth, reshaped by something that wasn't mine. When the final bell rang, I understood. We weren't summoning salvation. We were opening the door that kept it out. And somewhere above the sound, something vast and starving began to breathe. Episode 10, The Cloister That Trapped Souls. When the last bell fell silent, the world forgot how to breathe. Ash rained from the rafters, soft as snow, covering the sisters who no longer moved. Their bodies knelt in perfect rows, eyes open toward the altar, lips frozen mid-prayer. The air pulsed, not with sound, but with presence. And I realized the truth. We were never praying to God. We were feeding Him. The cloister had always been a mouth. The chapel, its throat. Every hymn, every vow, every drop of blood we spilled, an offering that kept it alive. It didn't want worship. It wanted souls. And we were the harvest. Lucia's voice came from behind me, faint, fractured. Amara, it's not death. It's ascension. She stood in the doorway, light spilling from the cracks in her skin like molten gold. Her smile was beatific and unbearable. Her shadow, gone. I took a step toward her, trembling. What happens if we refuse? She laughed softly. No one ever has. The floor trembled beneath us. The mirrors lining the chapel began to shimmer again, each reflecting a different version of me, praying, weeping, burning, dissolving. Then they began to speak, one by one, in my own voice. Stay. 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 I clutched my rosary, but it had melted in my hand. There was no faith left, only the taste of iron, and the echo of something vast whispering my name. Amara. I turned to the gates, those ancient iron teeth that had closed behind me so long ago. Now, for the first time, they stood open. A pale light shimmered beyond them, cold and endless. Lucia reached out her hand, her voice barely a breath. If you leave, you'll forget everything. Even your soul. I looked back once, at the chapel of bodies, the walls still breathing, the God that had no name. And I whispered, then let him remember for me. I stepped through the gate. The air outside was still. No stars. No dawn. Only silence, sacred, absolute, eternal. And behind me, the convent began to sing. Epilogue, the bells that never died. They say no one remembers the convent of St. Aurelia anymore. That it burned down over a century ago, a fire that lasted 7 days and nights, fueled by nothing anyone could name. Yet every traveler who passes through these hills still speaks of one thing. The sound of bells. I came here because I didn't believe them. Because faith, even dead, still draws the curious. There is nothing left now, only the ruins of a chapel swallowed by ivy. And the faint outline of gates that lead to nowhere. But when the wind moves just right, I swear I can hear the whisper of a woman's voice. Soft and trembling, caught between prayer and grief. I found a single relic in the ashes, a rosary, fused by heat, its beads shaped into drops of glass. And beneath it, carved into the stone, words half erased by time. Deliver us, from heaven. As night falls, the bells begin again, slow, deliberate, uneven. There is no church to ring them, no hands to pull the ropes. Only the echo of faith that refused to die. And for a moment, I see her. A figure in white standing where the altar once stood. Face hidden. Hands clasped. Her shadow stretches toward me, long and trembling, as though reaching across centuries. Then she looks up. Her eyes are full of stars that do not exist. I try to speak her name, but the wind takes it first. The candles flicker in the ruins, though no flame burns. And from far, far away, a single bell tolls one last time. Not for the dead. Not for the living. But for every soul still praying inside the cloister that never truly died.